I love it when a guest brings a notepad. I know they're serious.
Well, it's just if I think of anything whilst you're talking, I need to.
That's what I do.
Lose my trail of thought.
Well, one of the hardest things is, when you're having a conversation with someone and something really cool pops in your head.
Yeah.
But you're trying to listen.
Yeah, you don't want to be rude and cut across them.
No, of course, and you don't want to forget it either.
Yeah.
So it's good to make a little scribble down.
Yeah.
That's what happens to me.
Yeah.
Or I'll be thinking, it's hard listening. It's a skill. So I'm like, I really want to listen to what this person's saying, but this really good idea's just come into my head.
Yeah. No, it's a skill you have to fine tune.
Yeah.
The art of listening.
You're right. I think we forget about that. We talk about how to articulate ourselves and stuff. But yeah, it's such a skill to just sit there and listen. It's so hard.
Because straight away you're almost thinking, right, what do I want to say next? What's my next point?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you know what? That's another great...
Like ego talking, isn't it, a bit?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But plus, it's just, like you say, it's a skill.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean... I don't think it means we're egotistical necessarily. It's just natural.
The worst for me is in between that dream state, when you just wake up before you're fully awake and you're kind of that in between.
Yeah.
And you get brilliant ideas. Most of mine come then. And then I think, I've got to remember that. And then if you'd fall back off to sleep... And it's almost like, I hate that feeling of it's gone for good.
The amount of times I've gone, I will not forget. I wake up and I'm like, fucking hell, it's a powerful dream. I will not forget this, and I'll remember it in the morning. And then in the morning, I'm like, I can't remember it.
Do you know, on dreams, I've started journaling mine.
Yeah. Really
interesting. And you remember more and more, and you retain more and more.
The problem with dreams is, though, I hear people say that, when you wake up, write down, dude, I'd never fucking sleep.
Yeah.
I'd just be writing all night. Because every time I shut my eyes, I have these vivid images in my head and I have these crazy dreams.
Yeah.
So I'm like, part of me would just never be sleeping.
I'd just be journaling all the
time.
Just
be journaling all night.
Yeah.
Thinking about, what does that mean? But I'm reading this wicked book at the minute. It says, don't analyse your dreams too much. Just try and remember them and sit with them. And because sometimes we can get to, like, in our heads of, like, well, what does that mean? What does this mean? What does that mean? And we try and analyse the shit out of everything.
Yeah. So it's more about just how it made you feel.
Sometimes, yeah, and just being and just sitting with it.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference between just allowing a bit of discovery versus like having to know what every single thing means.
Because they're so messed up, aren't they?
Oh, they're
some of them
crazy, and I still I'm on the fence of whether they mean anything. A lot of the books I read now, because they're spiritual, they say they do mean something.
Yeah, you almost go to your different sort of levels of consciousness.
Yeah,
and you get your messages through your dreams and stuff.
Well, it's supposed to be a different state, a bit like psychedelics. It takes you to a different state.
Yeah.
A place that you can't access just like now.
Yeah. Well,
which is fascinating.
This is deemed as the third dimension, isn't it? It lets you go to those other dimensions when you're asleep.
There's some crazy shit. Honestly, some of the stuff I'm listening to and reading at the minute is so crazy and out there, but it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
So fascinating. I was doing some writing yesterday and I want to read a lot. I'm buzzing now because I haven't done a podcast for a couple of weeks now. We release them every week, but sometimes I do them in bundles and I miss them when I don't do them. And I was doing some writing yesterday and I was talking about how small talk can take over our lives sometimes and it doesn't leave space for some of the bigger stuff to talk about. And I can't do small talk very well.
No, I can't. It's the hardest skill. I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why you'd want to. It's boring.
Just talking about the weather and
that's
what you've been up to. Did you have a nice Easter? It's like, you know the answer. What's the point in asking?
Sure. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. The weather, what you had for dinner last night, and anything to do with like celebrity news, I could not give a fuck about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Bores the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends and my family, you kind of have to... They don't always want to talk about the meaning of life and purpose, which I get it. It's heavy shit. So you have to kind of like introduce a bit of small talk into your life.
It's so difficult when you go on a bit of a journey of self-discovery because the people in your life that you've grown up with for the last, let's say, 40 years aren't that way inclined. So you've got no one to talk to. So you're a lot of the time alone in your own mind, having these conversations and thinking about these things to yourself, aren't you, really? Yeah,
well, how many men do you think in the last year have had deep and meaningful conversations about life with other men? Probably very few percentage, right?
Yeah.
Which is quite sad because I love it. It's when I feel most alive, when I'm talking about things.
Well, you just score about yourself, don't you?
Yeah. But you said it, self-growth, self-development. If you're developing and growing and the people around you aren't, and again, it's not an insult to them, it's just the path we've chosen. It's difficult because you're growing, you're doing the self-development. They're not, and it can create gaps.
Yeah.
Between where you are and they're at, in gaps in conversation, gaps in intellect even, gaps in the thirst for growth. So you kind of like the common denominators that you once had start to separate a bit, and you feel more lonely.
creates conflict. And then what you do is you tend to suppress your own beliefs, and you kind of fall back into what you used to be just to conform, don't you?
Well, you can do, can't you?
Because otherwise, if you're constantly banging that drum all the time with people, they're just going to get turned off by you. And it says, doesn't it, when you read all the time, it says, like, as you go on your, whether it's a spiritual journey, your development journey, people that were friends and family at certain stages of your life fall off because they're meant to.
Do you ever think you've been that preachy guy who's like...
Oh, God, they call me the preacher.
Do they?
A couple of mates call me the preacher, but my true mates embrace it and love it, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, they let me just go down the rabbit hole. They just let me go talking, and they take it all on board because they're all open-minded. Whereas I've got older friends and family that are so closed off, almost fearful of anything out of the ordinary that they've always known, that they're just shut off. Their belief systems are very set, and they're not willing to change anything.
It's difficult. That I've been thinking a lot about loneliness lately, because again, you think loneliness of like this little old man sat on his own because his wife's
we see
passed.
the adverts,
you know, exactly. You know, the loneliness adverts, the stereotypical old person with that can't get out and about. But I'm like, actually, no, it stems at much lower barriers. If you can't have conversations with people that you really want to have, how lonely is that? I can't even speak to my friends because they want to talk football and food and tits, and I want to talk about life.
It's not being understood, isn't it?
Yeah.
The second you don't feel understood, that's when you start to feel lonely. You feel out there on your own in the cold, don't you? Really, it's like you can be in a crowded. It's an old saying, isn't it? You can be in a crowd full of people and still feel lonely.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Do you know Simon Sinek?
Yep. Yeah.
He was saying the same thing. So he's pretty famous, was super successful at what he does, but he said the ability for people to understand me is what made me feel lonely.
Yeah.
And that's why you can have a partner, for example, and you feel like your partner doesn't understand you, and you're like, I feel so lonely.
Well,
man.
do you know the most important thing? Because I think as soon as you understand yourself, that's when you stop feeling lonely. When you've got that awareness of yourself. Why do I act the way I do? Why do I react to things like this? What are my triggers? What are my old emotional wounds? All them things. Once you start discovering about yourself, which is the most interesting topic you'll ever learn about.
I agree with that.
You accept yourself more, and that loneliness kind of starts to, what's the word? Dissipate, I suppose. It kind of starts to, the edge comes off it a bit, and by nature of it, once you understand yourself better, you're more comfortable being authentic around people, and you find they start to open up as well. So once you bring awareness, I think, to yourself, and you become aware of things and start questioning everything and unpicking your belief systems and all these things, and talking to people, they start to do it as well. And we slowly go on this bit of we evolve a little bit. There are older, it tends to be, well, certainly from my experience, it's my family and the older people in my family that are more set with how they are. And it's the old saying, isn't it? Well, I've always been this way. This is me, accept me or fuck off sort of thing. Yeah.
And there's some power in that, you know. I get that. But it's interesting already you're talking about this authenticity. And do you not feel sometimes the more authentic you are, the more lonely you are? Because here's what I think you really need to be authentic. And very few people are willing to go down this. One, you can't be a people pleaser. If you're going to be authentic, you can't be pleasing everyone else at the sacrifice of your own kind of self. So there's one thing.
Yourself,
So you're already letting people down if you're truly authentic, or what you deem to be letting people down. The second thing, if you want to be authentic, you've got to be able to tell the truth.
Which is tough.
And again, the more truth you speak, the less liked you are. I can think of some examples of this in mainstream stuff now, where people are getting banned, censored for speaking what they believe to be truth. So what we're saying in essence is, you can't say what you want. If you do, we're going to silence you.
Okay, on truth, I've come to understand or believe, it's only a belief, my belief, but everyone is speaking their truth. But everyone's got a very different opinion of the truth. We can all look at, everyone perceives everything differently. But to me, this is my truth. To you, it'd be your truth. However, it may be conflicting. That's where humans, we conflict one another, because we can all look at the same thing, but we will all perceive it completely differently. But to us, it's truth because of the belief we give it.
Sometimes there are straight up lies where you know something to be true, but you say the opposite for your own gain.
So manipulation.
Yeah, so let's go down on a most obvious thing. I could think a politician.
Yeah.
So they might say something that they know not is true so that they gain votes in order to get power. So that happens, right? I've lied in the past. I'm sure you have. We all have. We're human. So I think there's that truth, and then there's the deception of the truth. Yeah. Or deceiving the truth.
Yeah.
So I think there's straight up lies, which that's a different topic, right? A different game.
Yeah, because everyone in their own world, like everyone's mind is an individual world, isn't it?
That is the world, I think, your mind. Yeah, I think
there's two
the world
worlds.
we live in.
I almost see it like you've got the external world and the things that are truth. It's very difficult because everything else is almost built around beliefs, isn't it? So it's the truth, it's the belief we give something we're told. That then becomes truth to us. So us living beings, we're truth, we exist. The planet's truth, the stars are truth, the universe is truth. Everything that we've been told and taught and learned and knowledge shared and all these things over the centuries that we've given belief to, is it truth? Or is it
I don't know.
Time doesn't exist, does it?
We've
created time as man to quantify things.
Sure, I don't. When
Santa Claus, there's another lie, isn't there? I don't know, kids are listening. Santa's great.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I don't think we'll ever know what truth is, but I think there's a courage to speak what you believe is true. Which is
it's almost like the confidence to say what your point of view is, your belief is.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to offend others, you don't want them to think bad of you. So you kind of I know what you're saying around the people pleasing element.
Yeah, of course.
But that comes from an insecurity, doesn't it?
It does, and fitting in. Like, you have to people please, otherwise you wouldn't be able to survive in the world. Like, when you're a teenager and you want to please, you've got to conform. You've got to conform to a certain amount of level, otherwise you're an outcast from day one. And what's our biggest fear? Being an outcast.
Yeah, that goes back to a tribal thing, doesn't it?
Of course
You can't survive outside of your tribe, so therefore you conform.
But as an adult now, we have the ability to try and find our own tribe where we're accepted for what we believe, speaking our truth. Yeah. So this is where, like, we can have these conversations and it's cool. Yeah. Because we're kind of on the same mission. Yeah. So I accept you for everything you say today, you accept me. Yeah. And that's great. But out there, that might not cut it. We might be like, who the fuck is this guy? Kind of thing. But
then you got to look at why does it trigger them in that way? That's what I think. So you should never really take anything personally, should you? Because it's someone else's belief system, it's someone else's views. Like, if they then don't agree with you, that's fine, isn't it?
Of course it is.
But we're so built to
people please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's from like childhoods, that's from what we're taught from day dot, isn't it? As soon as we can communicate, of course, all these belief systems and things are pumped into us. Be a good boy, behave. Yeah. You know, don't upset your dad, don't make a noise, don't do this, don't do that.
And that still exists within us. Like, I don't know about you, I want to make my parents proud of me.
Yeah.
So even though I've got this level of awareness, there's still a bit of me that holds myself back because I want to make my mum and dad proud.
Yeah.
And there's part of me that won't give myself permission to go and pursue what I want because it goes against everything I've been taught, shown.
That rule book, that belief system that creates a rule book.
Strong.
That you judge yourself on and everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, you look at, everyone can take a look at their own family upbringing. It's like, so you say please and thank you. You hold doors for people. You do this. You do all the things that you get ingrained into you, which is nice and being polite. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. However, second someone doesn't do it for you, the venom, the anger towards them, how dare you sort of approach, isn't it? And it's, again, you're on two different belief systems. You and this other person are running off two different rule books, being brought up completely differently, and it creates this conflict. And then that goes further and further. We get into war and all the horrible things on the planet, don't we? Eventually, from the same sort of concept.
Yeah, like you say, because if someone doesn't hold a door open for you, what does that mean? It means that they're not polite, it's rude.
Yeah, all of a sudden you judge them.
Yeah, because of you believe that if you hold a door open for someone, you're kind, you're generous. So if they don't do it, they're not those things. Yeah. So it's a big clash.
And they're disrespecting you.
Yeah.
That means they're attacking your identity by not holding a door for you. Like when they don't thank you when you let them go in the car. I mean, I've always got annoyed with that. Now I just laugh. But, you know, when it used to be like you've give way to someone in the car and they don't even give you a flash or a nod or a thank you, mate.
Yeah,
it's frustrating as hell, isn't it?
Yeah, I still get caught out sometimes, even though I know that it's not important and it's more about me than it is them, I still get caught out.
But it's that awareness of where does that come from? So where's that? Why does that stoke that emotion of anger or in me?
Well, do you know what, Scott? I think this is the great thing about self-development. It stops you from doing that, like, well, what's wrong with this guy? And it makes you go, well, what's wrong with me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything comes back to, like, what does that say about me? What is this saying about me? How can I improve? Do you know what I mean? Everything.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about self-development for me. It's no longer like Donald Trump's an absolute cunt and I can't stand him. Some of that, again, you could have good arguments for that. But if I'm pointing my finger at Trump, it stops me from doing my own work and working on my own flaws.
Yeah.
Because everyone's flawed.
You can't change anyone else other than yourself.
Of course you can't. But you can waste your time trying to change the world, trying to change everyone else. My view is if you want to change the world, this whole cliche, you got to start at home and with yourself. It's the only one, because you live in your head anyway. Yeah. But two, it makes sense to me. Start with you. Then maybe you can impact your family in a more positive way. Maybe you can reach out to your community. So you are changing the world of your own and the people around you.
But, I mean, to change your world is the best thing you could ever do, isn't it?
I think it's the only thing you can do.
But also the best because you're always going to be there.
And it's the hardest, by the way. It's easier to go, him.
Oh, yeah.
He's him or her. She's the reason I'm so angry.
Yeah.
She's why I fucking lose my shit.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about relationships. We've both been there, right? So easy. She's the issue, man.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed with relationships, dude, is the issues that these women have, they're all the fucking same. So what I'm doing is I'm picking the people to be with that show the same things that mirror back at what's in me.
All right. So that's interesting.
I didn't like the way you say that then.
That's really interesting because I believe relationships are our biggest teacher.
Yeah.
And everything in life, it's reframing it, isn't it? It's not happened to you, it's happened for me. So it's given me a lesson. It's allowing me to grow and learn from this. No matter how bad it is, no matter how shit it is, like I've had mates commit suicide, all things like that. It's like, right, what can I take out of this and what can I learn from it? So relationships, it's interesting you're saying that you're choosing the same type of girl that gives you the same lesson each time.
Yeah, because I haven't learned it yet.
Exactly. So it's just thinking what that lesson is.
Sure. Yeah, same. When you get to like nearly 40, like I am, you look back and there's patterns in your life. Yeah. Same patterns.
Yeah.
And until you can break those or assess those or do something about them, the same thing will happen in the next relationship. This always happens. People always end up with the same abusive partners or the same shitty outcomes, you know.
Yeah.
And you look back and it is. Everything's like habit, routine. Those habits, this is a weird thing. I'm at a real conflict now because I teach habit and routine.
Okay.
Right? And to get into great shape, guess what? You have to be consistent, have habits and routines. But later on in the self-development game, they could be the thing that keep you prisoner. Mm-hmm. So you can live so within your habits and your routines that you no longer become the grower or the explorer, and you stay stuck in those. And without those, you crumble. You just don't know how to survive.
And a lot of people adopt and cling on to and love unhealthy, not necessarily smoking, drinking, all that, but unhealthy habits. Like they've worked for you then to survive at that time in your life. But you're still clinging on to them coping strategies and them habits, the things you've done from a child that now as an adult at this level in your life that don't serve you anymore and actually hinder you.
Even the good ones, you know, can
exactly,
do that.
Yeah.
Or what again, I try and stay away from good or bad. Yeah, they serve you at a certain point, don't they? So the whole regimented me getting up at 5 a.m. and doing X, Y, and Z, like if you do that for the rest of your life, you're only ever going to taste what you're tasting now.
Yep.
So you kind of sometimes
do what you've always done. Yeah, get what you've always done.
So there's an element. This is where it sounds hypocritical, but it's not. It's just a bit paradoxical. It's like routine is really good, but routine is also really bad because routine can stop you from ever exploring other things in life.
I think for your physical, if you get into a routine for your physical body, great, and you know you look after your body. It's the greatest thing you'll ever own, your body, because no matter what technology comes out, it will never be as advanced as your body. But we absolutely like hammer our bodies. We abuse them, not just physically, but like mentally as well, don't we? How much do we criticize ourselves? I've got to look a certain way. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I hate my nose. I don't like this. I don't like that. Like constantly, don't we?
Yes.
And it's the greatest thing we'll ever own. So really, to look after our bodies, we just got to start talking to it a bit better as well and looking after it and treating it like with a bit more respect. Because like I said, there's nothing greater than the body. Like you can't buy it. You can't buy one, can you?
No, and it's the thing everyone wants back when they lose it. So if you lose your health or your physical capability, it's the first thing you want back.
Yeah.
So you're right, but that internal dialogue of looking in the mirror and not being
self-loathing and all that.
Yeah, and like you say, my nose is too big, my ears are fucked up. I wish I had a bigger chest. I wish my arms were bigger.
Yeah.
You can, like you say, imagine me saying that to you right now, going, Scott, I don't
exactly.
like
you talk about people pleasing.
Yeah.
You imagine if you spoke to other people like you speak to yourself.
Dude, I'd be flattened. People would punch me in the. I'd have no friends. Everyone would hate me. But the way I speak to myself. So different, so critical.
Yeah.
This is my area now that I need to improve, the self-talk in a dialogue that I've been so unaware of. That's the hardest thing. Like you said, awareness.
So our biggest superpower is awareness.
Yeah. So I've just started to catch myself beating myself up. Too late to change it, but I'm like, fucking hell, this is deep.
I mean, I was always taught never to be a big head, don't be this, don't be that, don't be like them, don't do that. So I was always very much like, almost on the back foot as a kid, because as a kid you love yourself. Before you can communicate, you don't mind running around naked, you don't mind, do you? You're just free.
No, you don't give a fuck.
You're absolutely free and happy, and all you do is love. There's almost no fear. When we start to communicate and adults pass on their fears onto us and their belief systems, all of a sudden we start to clam up, we start to be self-critical, we start to hammer ourselves, we start to abuse ourselves, like verbally, don't we, in our heads. And we start to hate ourselves, and it's almost like that's when it all starts to go wrong.
Yeah, and I think that starts to turn into physical too. Like you say, I think it starts verbally, but then if you think what we eat, there's real self-harm, substance abuse, alcohol. We do, that is a form, I guess you could say, of self. It's definitely not a symbol of respect for yourself.
Almost like with yourself now, if we talk about like the concept of keeping in shape and going to the gym, if you miss a session, what does that trigger in you? Yeah,
I hate it. I don't miss sessions. I'm that regimented.
You see, all of a sudden, my mind starts thinking, you've put weight on, you're lazy, you're a disgrace. Like,
sure.
You're putting all that back on. What have you done that for? And you just hammer yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
Whereas actually, sometimes your body needs a break.
To
recoup.
It's like, what would I say to my best mate who was on a really good path who missed a session? I'd say, dude, like, give yourself a break. You missed a session. Just don't miss twice, man. Let's get back to it. Yeah, but with yourself, like you say, fucking hell, you lazy cunt. Like, look at that little bit of fat around your side again. Yeah. You're getting skinnier, man. You're getting fat around the bellies. All this stuff. I'm like you, if I don't train for a day, what I see in the mirror changes. Even though it hasn't changed, it's one day.
It's the same thing as well with if you're like an entrepreneur and you've got this this thirst for being successful. If you don't work one day, well, I've not done anything towards my goal. Like, and it can start. You start becoming anxious. You can depression. It triggers all these emotions in you because of a belief system that if I don't do that, bad's gonna happen. Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, life's crazy, mate.
Whereas you look at animals and kids and nature, just be happy, love. Don't worry about anything.
Well, I used to think it was all people, but from the study I've been doing, it's not. It's more of a Western thing.
Right.
So there are people out there that still live like this. They still hunt. They still work in communities. They still look after each other. They still communicate well. It's not the world, I don't think. It's probably the world as we know it. Because I don't know anything different other than the Western way of living.
Yeah.
You're right. It's, let's get some nice clothes, get a house, get a car.
Yeah.
Look good, feel good, succeed in life. That's all
Empty
I know.
Inside.
And it's
It's not fulfilling, is it? Might give you that little bit of a perk for a bit, but after a while, it's just another car. After a while, what's the next thing? What's the next mountain I've got to climb?
I think I'm learning all of this now. There's definitely been something in the last maybe 4 or 5 years that kind of says if you carry on down the path, you'll continue to feel empty. Yeah. Which is being a goal getter.
Yeah.
Even though it gives you purpose, but I think it might be a false purpose. It might be not deep enough to really understand what a good life is about.
I mean, what the worst thing is to be deemed as successful, but almost not being fulfilled, isn't it?
I think that's the worst thing in life.
Which is where I got to probably, and to me, I don't feel like I've been successful yet. However, everyone around me says, "Oh, you've done so well. You've got your own business. You've done this. You've done that." etc. But to me, that's empty. I still don't feel fulfilled. So I've realised I'm not actually doing what my purpose is or what my why is, what I want to be doing. So it's almost like I've got to have that awareness to realise I can keep going along this path and just grinding stuff out and never giving up, because that's sort of like my approach to everything. Outwork everyone, keep going, never quit on anything. But where's it leading?
Well, that never quit attitude is both a blessing, like it will get you far in life, and it's one of the biggest curses too, because it means some people will never stop and quit doing the things that don't offer them fulfillment.
Exactly. So that's where I've had to really take stock and realise, actually, I can carry on just,
that's interesting,
with
man.
the grind.
What do you think success looks like then for you?
I think success is having complete inner peace. That's fulfillment, is the complete inner peace, where almost, because I think happiness and joy will ebb and flow.
Sure.
It's never a constant. And things are always going to happen, and they're never sort of like, it's always another lesson or another challenge for you to grow. And I think as long as you always feel like you're growing and evolving, you've got this like inner peace.
So how do you grow and evolve without being a go-getter? That's the thing, isn't it? It's like,
you see, I don't want to go too sort of spiritual and too that sort of way.
Go as spiritual as you want, man.
But I think
let's go down this rabbit hole.
I think, all the things that happen to us are the key things for our lessons from what we're meant to learn in this lifetime. So for me, if it is like, one of my biggest fears, and always has been, is like abandonment and rejection.
Yep.
Right. So if we go on to the relationship element, so abandonment and rejection. Now, I don't know where that comes from. I can put a story to it and say it's from my childhood, that I was born into a family where you've got like half siblings, and they didn't accept me, and I was the black sheep of the family. I can say it all stems from that, but I don't really know where it stems from. However, what I do know is all my relationships have been slapping me in the face, like you mentioned earlier, with this lesson. And I've thought, this time I'm going to just endure it. I'm going to surrender to it. I'm going to accept it. And I'm going to learn about myself through it and come out the other side. So abandonment, rejection, relationships breaking up, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you're trying to, that grit, that fight, that never quit, and you just go, actually, I've got to accept this. Just let it flow over you. Feel it, because you've got to feel it, because what we do is we try to fight so we don't have to feel. And it's almost like once you've felt it, it's like, right, I'm just going to go through this and come out the other side. It's almost like a crucifixion. I know that's a bit, I'm not religious in any way. I'm spiritual, but not religious. I haven't got any sort of religious beliefs. But I think there's golden threads in all the different religions that have got the teachings that we could really benefit from. But yeah, it's kind of like taking that lesson, that heartache, that sick feeling, twist in the pit of your stomach, and understanding, why do I feel this way? Is it me, or is it that I've just got to learn to reframe this and what's happening? So rejection, you automatically think it's an attack on your identity, and it's almost like your ego then is the thing that will make your mind run away with you, will tell you you're this, you're that, she's this, she's that. You get that horrible sort of inner conflict, don't you? It's horrendous. It's the worst feeling in the world for me.
I don't think I've experienced anything worse, no.
Than that emotional relationship sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then abandonment, that they just turn their back on you, they disappear, and you're left on your own. Well, then you have to learn, what's that teaching me? I always thought, what's the lesson in it? Well, that's got to teach me that I need to be happy just being me. They are not my identity, I'm my identity. They are not my worth, I'm my worth. Do you know those sort of things?
I do. So what's your usual pattern then, or historical pattern in relationships? So how does the usual relationship go for you, and how does it end?
I think my problem's been, it's almost been like my first love was my all and everything. Then ever since that, then I've always compared next partners to that, so never really progressed any further than a certain point. And I suppose that's because you kind of think, is it a protection thing? Is it I'm keeping myself safe by only going 90% and always keeping that 10% back? So not making that commitment to get engaged, get married, have kids, which I think is an important thing, because I think you do need to feel and know it's right if you're going to do that. It's not just a thing to tick a box to be like everyone else and, oh, my family want me to get married, my family want me to have kids, you know, because you can go down that path and do it for the wrong reasons, can't you?
Sure,
So for whatever reason, whether it's been I've been scared or I'm a bit of a procrastinator and everything. I'm a bit of a perfectionist as well. So if it doesn't feel perfect or right, I won't potentially do it. So yeah, I've almost had 3, 4, 5 year relationships, and they've never progressed beyond then that next stage. And I think it's my own fears, and it's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of, what if this isn't right? What if this isn't meant to be and I'm doing the wrong thing? And overanalyzing it, to be honest, where really you should just go on your gut. Your gut's never wrong.
Do you believe the theory that you'll always regret what you do because there's always 1,000 other options, so you pick the regret that you couldn't handle? So for example, I mean, how old are you now?
39.
Yeah, I'm 38, right? We're both single, right?
Yeah.
Like no kids,
Yeah.
no partners. So it's starting to get a little bit, I don't know how you feel, I'm a bit fearful that this might not happen. I might not get married. I might not experience being a dad.
Yeah.
And my life is starting to feel a bit lonely and empty. So I kind of regret the behaviours of the past.
Right.
Because of where it's led me now.
Right.
So there's that.
But do you not feel now that you're I'm going to throw a pun in here, better man because of it, and you're more rounded, got better self-awareness, and actually can have and for me as well, relationships, this is what I've really learned through these last sort of 4 or 5 years, is a relationship is almost like your spiritual teacher. It's the greatest tool you'll ever have to teach you about yourself, because without someone else, you're never going to be able to see them blind spots, and it's not going to open you up.
Yeah, I think what that's done though is it's shown me the ugliest parts of me that I really don't like. So what the relationships have done is confirmed my beliefs. This is the danger of acting a particular way that you don't like. So how do we form our identity? Well, we keep doing the same behaviours every day until we become that person. So I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
I'm lean. I'm strong. I train every fucking day. I'm an athlete. And that's because I've done that for 20 years. In relationships, it's the other way around.
Okay.
Jealous, possessive. So I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I've formed my identity so hard.
Okay, but is your body you? Is that who you are? Your body?
Yeah. The what you see is a result of who I am. Disciplined, committed, consistent.
Yeah, but is your body who you are?
It represents who I am.
Okay.
But it has to be. So if I was 20 stone, if you put me next to Alex of 20 stone, you'd be able to tell what kind of person I was.
Okay.
You'd be able to say, well, he's the disciplined.
Or is that your belief system?
No, that's fact. That's this guy's lean and in shape.
Yeah.
So I know his behaviours in his identity.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you get away from that. I know what you mean. On a deeper level, you are not your body.
Yeah.
But you can certainly tell someone's behaviours
Yeah.
from a physical appearance. Like I'd know. Like a guy walks in now, looking wicked in a tight t-shirt. You're like, that guy's dedicated to the gym, man. That guy's disciplined. He's consistent. Like you get information.
But someone else's belief system would be, they'd probably criticise him.
Yeah, but I don't think you could say. I mean, who could argue that he wasn't dedicated, consistent, and disciplined?
To go into the gym and look at
some people might go, well, he's egotistical, he's fucking obsessed, he's over the top, he's got nothing deeper than his physical body. Yeah, you could get that.
Yeah, but we don't know him, do we?
No, but I still think
we don't know mentally what goes on in his head. We don't know his belief systems. We don't know anything about it.
No, but these relationships.
But this is where we judge, isn't it? But I'm saying you're judging yourself, and you're putting your identity on your body.
And my behaviours.
And then you're putting your identity on how you behave in a relationship.
On my behaviours, yeah. Well, how else would you identify with yourself if it's not through your behaviours?
The saying of us, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And I think we get so bogged down with being like you say, a society says we've got to be this way, then that's what we believe our identity is. So we're not our name. Our name was given to us. We're not our nationalities. They were given to us. All these things, we are just... We're the same as nature. We're the same as just any other being, aren't we?
Yeah, but nature is nasty and jealous and obsessive too.
Right, what jealousy is there in
Well,
nature?
if we have a look at nature and animals, they're fucking ferocious. And this is where I think a lot of people go wrong now. They want to eliminate all bad.
Yeah.
And they want to become this perfect being that doesn't procrastinate, that doesn't have flaws.
That's impossible.
It is, but I think there's a skill in embracing that and going...
Yeah.
And this isn't to say you shouldn't change and work hard in self-development, because I'm all in on that. But there is a part where you get to that says, I'm human. Everyone's human. I'm a mix of good and bad.
Everyone fucks up.
Well, yeah, but even like, I think we spend so much of our time trying to remove all the bad. And that's a painful process. And I don't believe like God put us on this planet to be perfect.
No, all our emotions as well. Emotions are real. So anger, there's nothing wrong with feeling angry. You're meant to. There's a reason you feel it, because you're meant to, right? But it's almost like what triggers it. And is it a rational trigger, and is it meant to trigger it? It's almost like jealousy.
Yeah.
It's normal to feel jealous.
Yeah.
But then it's unpicking and having the awareness, why do I feel jealous?
Yeah.
Then it's almost like anxiety. This thing about anxiety at the minute, right? It's a normal human reaction and feeling to feel anxious. But it's what belief and what meaning have you give it.
Yeah. And I think by telling kids all the time that you shouldn't be anxious, you're adding to their anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, anxiety is a great thing.
Before this,
keep you alive, it's close to excitement.
I kept saying to myself, right, well, why are you shitting it? Oh, well, and I was thinking, is it going to kill you? No. So what have you got to worry about? It's just my ego taking over and trying to protect me.
Yeah, but it's a fine line. I was upstairs a little bit anxious because I haven't done one for 2 or 3 weeks. But that anxiety was really excitement. I'm like, I can't friggin' wait to get in there.
When you perform at a decent level of anything really, whether it's doing a presentation and a pitch in business or going out to play in front of 8,000 people in a cup final, your body, that's preparing you for performance. That anxiety is preparing you for performance. The problem is we still react the same. We've got a 2 million year old brain that still reacts the same as what it did to when we were trying to be eaten or attacked to keep us alive and survival. Problem is now we don't have to worry about any of them things. Not a thing like that, do we?
No, we don't. No.
And we go to a supermarket to get food. All we're bothered about now is how many likes do we get on Facebook? Do I look good? Have I got a nice enough car? Have I got the right status? All my friends are ahead of me. They've got kids. They're married. And, you look at all those things and you're like, but you still get the same reaction to what our brain used to respond to millions of years ago.
Yeah, sure.
And that's when we got to reframe it. So when I was today thinking, get over yourself, like what on earth you got to be bothered about? Yes, you don't like the sound of your own voice. You don't ever have to listen to it. All these things that were going through my mind, right, it could be career suicide before you've started. You're going on this journey of wanting to help people and help people on their self-discovery and all these sort of things with personal development. You might ruin it all. But if that's the case, that's not what you're meant to be doing. Well,
here's my view on this, right? There's the best way you can help people is to be open and honest and share your shit.
Yeah.
And it's the bravest thing. There's so many, I'd say 99% of coaches are full of shit.
Yeah, it's about them.
It's about them, and they will go so far to tell you about how well they've done and how much they've changed and everything, but they will miss out the ugly stuff.
Yeah, the vulnerability.
They will miss out that. They'll miss out the stuff they're still fucking up because no one's they'll miss out all the stuff. And I'm like, I made a promise to myself because I was that too, and I still am. Trust me, I'm not certainly not an open kind of book that I'm not willing to share all my shit because.
It's dark. You think it's dark, and people will be like, "Oh, fucking hell!"
It is dark. It's right. Disturbing. It doesn't make sense. But like I say, we're humans. I think every guy goes through that lost stage, and he experiences part of himself that he doesn't like. You have to understand yourself better. Yeah, and you start to know what parts of you want to engage with, and what parts bring out the best in you and the worst. You have to see yourself as a flawed human. You have to know it's within you, because I can't be empathetic otherwise. So if a guy comes to me and he's fucked up, if I wasn't empathetic or had compassion, I'd tell him to fuck off and I can't help him. I'm like, I want to help you because you fucked up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I not share the fact that
The thing is, right,
I'm all these things
I think
and more.
what we lose sight of as well, we're all perfect, but it's our idea of perfect that's fucked up. So whether you've got, like we're talking about physical attributes, right? Whether you've got a massive nose, big ears, you're fat, you're short, whatever it is, right? We've all decided as a belief system that's ugly and bad, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we've all been taught that, and then we've all gone, okay, yeah, we believe that. That's ugly, right? It's not, is it? These are the things that we've put belief to. It's when we start to unpick it and realise that actually we're all just perfect as we are. And whether you think what you're thinking and your dark side and all these sort of things, in your mind, because of your belief system, you're like, that's really fucking bad. I don't know if I can share them things. Because you believe it's not good. Nothing's neither good or bad. You said it about earlier, didn't you? You said you try not to say it's good or bad.
Sure.
Why is your dark side bad? Because society says so? Because your belief systems have made you believe that?
Yeah, and I think the outcomes that it produced, and I don't like what I see. So I don't necessarily think you should just go, oh, fuck it, this is, and not go to war with some of those things. But there's got to be a level of acceptance that I'm human and these things inside of me are normal. Because then you no longer hate it as much.
100%. So it's normal. If you're feeling it, it's normal.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's something to look into, but look at like ego death and the death of your ego. So the whole die before you die concept. And I witnessed this with my dad passing, he's coming up to 3 years now. But he was very sort of like stubborn, proud, almost you could say some people would call him arrogant over things and stuff like this, but it was just his ego protecting his insecurities. And then they didn't understand him. He didn't really understand himself. Then when someone's dying, and it's a bit morbid, but we're all guaranteed that's where we're going, so why not do this bit before we get there? Those last few weeks and then leading up to his death, I saw the real him, the complete laid bare, just the pure him, the truth. All his ego just died off, and all these hang-ups about never trust a woman, don't let a woman have your money, and all this because of the things that had happened to him. I really started to see him and I understood him, and me and him bonded incredible. And it taught me loads about me, and it helped me to get to a point where I'm thinking, well, I don't want to wait till I'm on my deathbed before my ego dies. I want to live my life as full as I can, so let's try and strip it away now. So that ego death is so vital, where you identify with so many things and you think it's an attack on you, whereas everything, just let it pass through you. Don't take anything personally. If someone's horrible to you, it's their issue, not yours. If someone doesn't believe in what you're saying, it's their issue, not yours.
But I think the misunderstanding about ego death is that it's not painful, and it is. So,
oh God,
yeah, you had to have something like that happen.
It's a crucifixion,
yeah. So I think you have epiphanies in your life. Some people, unfortunately, have them right at the end.
Yeah,
And
most do.
Most do. They'll be on their deathbed, and like you say, it just comes to you because everything's stripped away from you. You don't have these barriers up anymore. So I'm taking part in this retreat in a few weeks where they purposely take your ego and will crush it. The first thing they do is make you sleep outside on a mat for 4 nights with no food,
right,
in the forest. So instantly your ego just starts to quieten down, and eventually they reckon it will just fuck off, and you'll realise you're nothing. You're just sleeping under the stars in nature. Your nature, nature's you. You're nothing special. Let's get that through.
Or it'll make you realise you're everything.
Well, it connects you, is what it does. But apparently the fasting for 4 days gives you absolute clarity. It removes brain fog.
Yep.
It gives you clearer thoughts, clarity, and you're out in nature, which they always say is the best way, right? We're not designed to sit in front of these screens all day. We've got a laptop, then it's the phone, then it's the TV.
Yep.
I mean, what better way to distract yourself from big questions in life than to do all that shit?
Hide from everything.
Yeah, so this is like, well, you can't hide here,
Yeah.
And that's what it does. It strips you of everything. It takes away your physicality too, because I'm heavily physical. I like fighting. I like lifting weights. I love wrestling. I love anything.
What does that do for your mind?
Oh, man, it's firstly, it's been the best tool that I discovered. So when I was this wimpy 19-year-old that was given beta blockers by a doctor because he was so scared, I went down the physical road. that just has got to the point now where it's served its purpose. You know, I'm fairly strong. You know, I mean, how strong do I need to be? I can throw a good punch. I can wrestle on the floor. I can lift heavy weights.
Yeah,
it's really toughened me up. I can climb mountains. Now I've been getting these kind of like signs of like, cool, well done, level 1, the physical body. Level 2 now you can start to play the real game. But I get a real deep understanding now of it, and I don't know why this has become clear. It's probably just been 20 years of work. I just start to understand stuff a bit more now.
Yeah,
but it's painful because I feel more disconnected from everyone now.
Yeah.
I can't relate to many people.
Like
now.
I say, it's, the only way I can describe it, it's like a crucifixion. It's like you're dying before actually dying. Everything you've ever known, everything you've ever thought, every way you've operated, your operating system is just completely reset.
Well, how hard is that though, to let go of who you are or who you thought you were?
Yeah, or what you believed.
Yeah, what you that is so.
You're still you.
It sounds so easy.
Yeah.
I will let go of what I believe. Oh my God, I fight tooth and nail to keep hold of them. People will die for their beliefs, by the way.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly.
Because we feel safe if we can believe in something.
Well, if we don't have our beliefs, what do we have? Like, you're stepping into the unknown. It's the scariest place. So if I'm not physical man, who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
If I'm not that tough guy, maybe I am that terrified little kid.
Oh, we all are.
Yeah.
We never. You tell me, like I speak to like my mum, she's in her 70s. I speak to everyone. We all still feel a kid inside. And that never goes.
It doesn't. And relationships are the thing that brings that to the surface.
It triggers them old emotional wounds, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, here's my pattern. I meet a woman, I'm confident as fuck. I pretend to be confident as fuck. But it's attractive. You know, I'm stand up, you know, I'm cool.
Yeah.
The longer I'm with that person, they start to get beneath that surface. And they start to see... Yeah, exactly. The real me. The not so confident, the vulnerable, the needy. And then I'm like, well, now how can this person like that?
Right.
Because they liked this confident guy on the front end, but deep down he's insecure. So what's lovable about that?
You don't love yourself.
No, well, of course. Like, who does?
I do now. I think I'm a top person.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm a really nice person.
Yeah, I think I'm a nice person too.
Well, what more do you need to be then?
Yeah, but we're talking levels here. Like surface level, yeah, I'm pretty cool. I'm a nice guy.
Would you ever do anyone any harm? Purposefully?
Yes.
Okay, I wouldn't.
I would.
Right, why?
Yeah. Well, I know if I had to defend my parents.
Yeah, but you wouldn't go out of your way to just attack someone unprovoked.
Oh, no, not unprovoked. Well, I can't say... I'm not going to sit and go, I'd never do that.
But something would provoke you, surely, wouldn't it?
Some shit might happen in my life. My mum and dad might die in a car crash, or I might lose my marbles, and who knows? But that's what I'm saying. I've got the capability of attacking someone unprovoked. So have you.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone has.
So you can't say that would never happen.
No.
But
you wouldn't go out your way to...
Not right now, no. But this is what I mean. I'm a human. You go back to nature.
Yeah.
Every animal has got the ability to fucking, boom, lash out. So have we.
Yeah, but we've also got the ability to control it.
We have, but that's what I mean. So take your pick. I can do both.
Yeah. So if you can do both, would you attack someone? Would you cause them physical harm?
I don't know. I'm capable, yeah.
You're capable, but you've also got a choice.
Sure.
So it's on you, isn't it, the choice?
Yeah, but we're speaking logically here. Two sensible guys in a room, and we're okay now.
We need to go back to the point we were on, because we were going somewhere with that. But it's almost like... So with this relationship element, you're scared of them almost finding the real you.
Yeah, there's that like unlovable part of me that I don't want to express or show.
But you believe it to be unlovable?
Yes.
Okay, because you don't love that part of yourself.
Yeah, so this is like basically that inner child that we spoke about. Not a fan of that inner child. So there needs to be some healing done there.
Yeah,
sure. Which again I've been working on for years. It just hasn't clicked yet, and I'm not in a panic that oh my god. And I can have a conversation, any conversation. I'm not going to fix it tomorrow. It's a process that I need to go through, and I'm doing the work on it. But I can see now. This is what I mean about awareness. That there's a disconnect between the adult Alex and the kid Alex, and the adult Alex does not like that kid because he was weak, he wasn't clean, he was an embarrassment. That's the story, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, but that person still shows himself. Like he hasn't gone anywhere. It's like that Russian doll analogy. You know, they have the little
Still
doll
there, yeah.
and they have a doll on top. And
No
a
matter
doll.
how many layers you put
Yeah.
on top, it's still there.
So on the outside, strong. That's all genuine. Like I feel good. I feel tough. But if you dig, there's a part of me that
The
still
inner
feels
you, yeah.
unworthy or not lovable.
So
for
what
sure.
would you think in a relationship's the best thing to do at that starting stage?
Well,
Is it to play that role of alpha, confident, flirty, charming, or would it be to be? Which do you feel is the real you?
Well, I think the terror is real.
Right.
That's something I can't. Like that's something I can't deny. It's there, but I've made this person strong and confident. So that is also a genuine thing.
Yeah.
I think what I would need to get better at is being able to coexist the two together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm stand up. I'm confident. I'll go first. I'm courageous. But you should know that I'm
Because as humans, we are the greatest creators. That's what we do. Even if you don't feel you're a creative person, you've created your life. To this point now, everyone that's listening to this, everyone out there, where you're at right now, you have created the person you are now. Through your experiences, through everything. Even if you've done it unconsciously and unaware, your belief systems, how you act, how you respond to things, everything you've sort of created.
Yeah, I believe that to an extent. But life's a lottery too.
Yeah.
Like you said, like we're given this name, we're born to certain parents in a certain location.
Yeah.
So this is the debate on like, well, are we fully in control?
But
I don't think we are because we weren't starting off on the path that we chose.
yeah, but going back to you, you've then created this not alter ego, but this other part of you.
Yes.
That's strong and everything, fighting against what you believed you were as a child.
Yes, but we have to be aware that alter ego might have saved my life.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, and then that goes back to that coping strategy that served you as a kid and kept you safe.
Yeah.
Doesn't now as an adult.
Well, that's the thing now. You need to go, thanks for building me up to be
Loved
strong.
it, brilliant,
yeah,
thank
you. You've done your job now.
Yeah, now I'm on to my next level and my next stage and my next lessons.
But that's that death you spoke about. It's like, okay, all right, okay, we need to let some things go here. If you're gonna develop, because development requires the death of some kind. Yeah. So to get something, you have to let go of something. That's just the rule, right?
Yeah.
So it's
which
like,
is always hard.
Yeah, because again, we're driven guys. We want.
Yeah.
It's like, well, hold on, stop wanting for a minute. What can you let go of?
Yeah.
What's not needed in your life? What thoughts can you let go of? What people can you let go of? What beliefs can you let go of? What stories can you let go of? And then you might have the chance of going forward. Yeah. It's very messy. It's very complex. Yeah. And I love talking about it, by the way.
Yeah. But do you know what your triggers are? Do you know what your old emotional wounds and what triggers your old emotional wounds?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And like I say, I think our greatest superpower that we've all got is awareness.
Yeah.
And the second you can bring your awareness to something,
you
can do something about it.
Yeah.
It's when we're not aware.
This is where self-development, it's easier when you're a single guy because, like you say, if your partner is your best teacher, it's like, well, you can do all the development you want in the world. It's like you need to get on the pitch and play the game. Do you know what I mean? So at some point, you need to be with people that push buttons and show that you're in control of how you react and feel.
Yeah.
So it's quite easy right now because I'm on my own.
Well, you're in the gym before a fight or a game, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, it's all cool, you know. I'm a master of that.
What was it? Was it Muhammad Ali said the fight's won not in the ring, it's won months before, isn't it?
Yeah, but I believe this to be a bit different in terms of like, you can't keep waiting until you're ready because you might never be. So maybe the best way to learn is to start dating some people, man. Almost welcome that jealousy. Jeff always said this to me. It's like lifting weights. You have to be triggered by jealousy so that you can control it.
Yeah, because how can you like you say, you're aware of it, you know what it is. Now you can do something about it. So you can go through it. You can surrender to it, can't you?
You can, yeah. Or you can run away from it and go, fuck women, I'm never having a relationship again. They all make me feel like shit.
Yeah,
that would be the running away.
And then you can write a new story. They're all this. They're all horrible. Yeah. They're all going to do this to me.
Well, that's when you get to the dangerous part, when you start saying they.
Yeah.
All. And you
Yeah.
put all women under one category.
Exactly.
That is a bad thing to do.
Which is what my dad did.
Yeah, I get
Because
it.
he'd
I
been
see how
hurt
you can end
because
that. I get it.
And he was very much then guarded, which then as a kid, he was my hero. We didn't do a lot. We didn't have this father-son relationship where we had a great bond and all that. We had that towards the end of his life, which is a shame, but also really good.
Yeah.
But I picked up on all his energies, his wounds and everything was, you know, never trust a woman, don't do this, whatever it was, I took it all on. And I've had to unpick his belief systems.
Yeah.
These are generational beliefs.
Yeah.
You'll have some generational beliefs that have been passed on to you.
Yeah.
And you just you take a real back step and look at it all and think, well, that's bullshit. I don't want to believe that anymore. That's bullshit. That's never helped me. You know, like, I'm not confident. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't write a book. I'm dyslexic. Whatever it is, you all of a sudden start thinking, well, I'm putting all the blocks in my own way. Aren't you?
You are. I also have a bit of empathy for that. I understand how hard that is to start life like that. Like someone's handed you their beliefs.
But it happens to all of us.
Of course
the
it
second
does.
we can communicate and understand the language that we've learned, and even, you know, it's almost like as well, and there's parents out there that are amazing and they're trying their hardest, you know, all the time not to pass on what their beliefs are or their fears are onto their kids. But kids pick up on feelings more than what you say. It's what you do and how you act.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you haven't done the work and healed yourself, no matter how hard you try to protect your kid from it, by nature they're going to pick up on that vibe off you, which I did with my dad.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. This is why we need strong men, because it breaks generational chains.
Yeah, my mum is such an anxious person. The world's a terrible place. They're trying to con you. They're going to do this. You can't do that. Put your keys in a tin pot at night because they'll scan it and they'll rob your car. And you name it, any scam, anything. My mum, you know, like when we have these high-risk terrorist alert, that's like my mum constantly and always has been. So I've picked up on all her anxiousness. Yeah. So coming here today, whereas I should be like, be an experience, be fun. Yeah. I know my nervousness and that, oh God, comes predominantly from my mum.
Yeah. But it's powerful that you know it. Because then you can rationalise it and explain it to yourself.
Yeah, another load of bullshit.
Well, I'm generally I'm a bit nervous, so my stomach's... You can explain it and break it down. Yeah. But the danger is that those stories that are handed down to us, like women can't be trusted, the danger is that we don't reinforce that by finding women that can't be trusted.
Exactly.
Because there are women out there that can't be trusted. Yeah. So this is where it's hard, because some of that is true. Yeah. Some of it isn't. Yeah. The danger is that we engulf it all and we go, women can't be trusted.
But what you got to do is then have the faith and trust in yourself that I'll identify that, I'll be aware of that, and I can do something about it. Sure. I'm not helpless to it.
Well, no, because it's a skill, by the way. Let's face it, like we can sit here and, like, you know, we might get a bit nervous about talking about this. You want to pick a trustworthy woman. Yep. And there are certain signs in women and people that show whether you're trustworthy or not. Historically, will pick non-trustworthy women.
Yeah, so you know what you're getting into. You're safe. You know what you're getting into.
Because I can say at the end, I fucking told you so.
Yeah. So you're proving yourself right. Yeah.
It's fucked up, right? Yeah. But what it does, it keeps my story intact. It doesn't shatter my beliefs. It holds them firmly grounded.
And it kind of keeps you safe, doesn't it?
Very safe. Extremely safe. But I get everything I don't want, but that's safer than being vulnerable and saying, like you said at the start, I'm just going to surrender. Yeah. I'm just going to surrender. And if they go off, that's on them. Yeah. But to do that is the ultimate power. That's where I want to get to. Yeah. So you say success. That's my success, where I'm okay with who I am. Yeah. And I can allow people in and out of my life. If they stay in, it's because they're meant to stay in. If they don't, they don't.
100%.
But fuck me, that's hard.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Like, I've had mates that have been my best mates, and for no reason whatsoever, they're not in my life anymore. And I cannot put my finger on what's gone wrong. However, it's what it is.
What do you mean? Why do you think something's gone wrong? Do you not just think there's an organic element of growing apart?
No, it'll be over whether it's related to an incident or a problem or their partner, my partner, whatever reason it's been. But it's almost like I think, okay, there's nothing wrong with... We've all got our own paths, and you're the only person who can walk your path. Other people will walk it with you, but at certain times. It's nothing to say my mates, the ones that have gone out of my life, won't come back in at a later date when they've done their learning and learnt what they needed to do, and I've done what I needed to do.
Sure.
But for whatever reason, the greater good, if you like, they're not meant to be in my life at this time whilst I'm learning these lessons. Sure. And that's kind of how I look at things.
How many great friends have you got? Like, how many friends have you got that you could call right now and go, I'm really struggling. Will you be there for me?
5 or 6.
Okay, that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
I heard this scary stat. I think, again, I'm going to get this wrong, but it was like a third of men have got 0 now. Used to be like 20 years ago. Yeah. Now it's 0.
Yeah.
A third of men. A third of men haven't had sex in the last year. This is between 18 and 30 years of age. So again, you've got sexless guys walking around with high levels of testosterone. Yeah. And yeah, there's some scary stats out there, and I found that one about the connection between men now is really suffering. And
why do we think that is? Was there any rationale behind it?
Well, the kind of whole like dating thing was like, well, online dating has really kind of like changed the way things are, and it's actually kind of like taken men and women a step backwards in the art of communication. Yep. Also, women are thriving right now. You know, they're being more successful than ever, earning more money. Because of that, they want higher level men. Right, okay. And it leaves this gap for these guys who are probably sedated by playing computer games, watching too much porn.
Numbing themselves,
not really doing too much with their life. So they're kind of like not wanted or needed. Yeah. Sounds really harsh, but it's like...
Yeah, they're just existing. They're
just existing. And they kind of know it, and they feel shit about themselves. So that they're not dating anyone. They're staying at home, masturbating over porn and playing computer games.
And I think we've got to get back to the point of, like, a partner is someone that's your teacher, not that completes you. Yeah. You've got to complete yourself. They add value to you.
Sure. Yes, but you've got to add value to them, right?
Yeah, but you'll naturally trigger stuff in them and help them on their lessons.
Yeah, it's just what woman now is going to pick a guy that doesn't go outside and gets his kicks from playing a computer game. And by the way, I don't say this in a judgmental way. I feel sorry for these men because... You know, I've took the piss out of guys who can play computer games before, but really, I think it's quite sad, and maybe they're struggling with things. Maybe they've got anxiety. Maybe they just don't know what to do with themselves. But I can see the disconnect now between driven women, which there's more driven women than there are driven men now, or more educated women than there are educated men. Yeah. Certainly the gaps are widening. So it's like these younger women now are wanting older men because the older men have got their shit sorted, they've got more money, they're in a good job. So
didn't know that's nice to know.
Yeah, well, the 20
you're getting older.
Well, exactly. But it's true, right? If you think about yourself 10 years ago in your late 20s, I was a fucking more of a mess then than I am now, put it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like I can see why I might have more appeal now.
It's an old saying, but I really wish I knew what I knew now when I was younger.
Well, that's why you're doing what you do, man.
100%. That's it. I want to be able to help kids. I want to help everyone from when you're young enough, whether it's, you know, even during your imprint phase, that age of 4 to 7, where you take on all your belief systems. If we can help kids then to have an awareness, to understand themselves, to understand emotions, to understand they don't have to believe everything they're told, you know, they're going to have there's going to be less mental suffering in the world, because that's what it is. It's all mental suffering. Yeah. What we see in people's reactions and what they do is, like you said, if someone's overweight or not looking after themselves, abuse themselves, that is a result of mental suffering. Sure. At some point, whether it's the inner child, and by the way, your inner child is your imprint child, the 4 to 7 year old. Yeah. When I think of fat little Scott, that's the 7-year-old Scott. Yeah. That's scared of everything. The world's a dangerous place. Everyone's horrible. Yeah. You know, don't say anything to anyone. And that's when I then find myself in times of what would you call it? Adversity or tough things in adulthood. Mm-hmm. I revert back to little fat Scott. Mm. And then you look in the mirror and you think, actually, I'm a man now. Yeah. And it's a bit of a shock. You walk up to the car and you see yourself in the reflection, and you're like, shit. Yeah. When did that happen?
Yeah, because you don't really feel. I don't know how you would describe it. Feeling like a man.
No, I don't feel like a man.
No, nor do I. I don't know what I feel like.
Oh, you got to get a mortgage. Shit. Like, I can't do that. I'm a little kid. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you're 40 for Christ's sake.
That's crazy.
Not yet, but you're near enough 40. Like,
yeah, 40's a big deal, man. I'll be 40 next year. Yeah. It's a big fucking deal.
I've got 6 months.
It's kind of like...
But I see it as a level. So I'm reaching level 40.
Yeah, I see it as a serious level, though. I see it as a like
big boss level.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck about anymore, Alex. You don't want another relationship like the ones you've had. Don't relive the patterns that have really fucked you up. And that's why, again, I so admire guys like yourself that are saying I want to help these young kids, because me and you have been through it.
Yeah.
But this is why trauma should be welcomed, not avoided, because
greatest teacher,
isn't it?
Yeah.
It strengthens you, it teaches you, it shapes you, it gives you purpose.
Right, I've got a quote that I wrote. Now I've got to remember it, Russ, because I could cock this up now. But right, adversity shows you the person you are, but it also gives you the opportunity to become the person you're meant to be. So any shit that happens to you in life, as hard as it is, and you won't feel it at the time a lot of the time, but you got to welcome it and think, right, who can this make me now?
Yeah.
And that's what I've tried to do with everything, shit that's happened.
Yeah, for sure. You can involuntarily do some of that. Yeah,
subconsciously you might do it.
Yeah, well, you can even go on a path. If whether you can convince someone to do this is another story. So if let's say that we both know this 20-year-old lad who's not living a great life and he's playing too much computer and TV, we can say, look, dude, if you put yourself through 12 months worth of struggle, so come and train with me, come and go on this spiritual journey. It's going to be really hard, but the toughness is where you will grow. Trying to sell that concept's hard. You almost have to, life has to force upon you.
Which it does, doesn't it?
Of course it does. You can't, this is what I mean. People think they're being safe by staying at home. You're not. Life will get you. Your parents will die or you will get ill. Something's going to happen in life.
That you have to deal with.
So you might as well get training.
Yeah.
And prepare yourself.
Throw yourself into it.
Throw yourself in for this. This is the Goggins theory of like life's tough, so you better toughen yourself up.
It's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. And because of that toughness, your life will be better because you'll be braver, which means you'll be able to do more.
Yeah, and you can only be brave and show courage when there's fear.
Always. So another thing, how many guys say I want to be courageous? Everyone puts their hands up. Okay, how many people are willing to step in front of fear? Nobody. So how are you going to get more courageous?
Yeah.
So, like I say, you look back sometimes, you're like, fucking hell, yeah, I didn't ask for it, but I got it and I survived. So now I'm tougher.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, the word awareness pops up again. I'm aware. So if I climb a mountain or I wrestle or I do weights or if I do like a fasted 18-mile walk or if I do meditation, I'm like, all of this resistance and challenge is what's growing me. Therefore, give me the challenge.
Yeah.
Give me the challenge.
Whereas a lot of people see challenges as physical challenges.
Yeah.
They don't see it as the mental challenges, the spiritual challenges, the emotions are the toughest. Like you said, emotions are the toughest things to deal with.
I think so.
You'd rather do an ultra whatever than sit with your own thoughts like you're going to do on that 4-day thing.
Yeah, you're right. I used to think this, and then I heard Andrew Tate say this. He said, like, emotional pain, everyone says, is much more painful. He said if you get stabbed in the body, he said you'll know that actually emotions can be dealt with a lot more than physical. Like emotions are just something you can sit in. And he says it's got such a grip of men now that we're actually scared to step into them.
Right, so a key thing is don't believe everything you think.
Yeah.
Which is something that was the first thing that resonated with me. Don't believe everything you think.
Yeah.
And I've started to realise the inner voice in my head chats such bullshit.
Constant as well.
That I actually talk to him now.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, fuck off.
Yeah. But he doesn't
like,
shut the fuck up, does he?
Does eventually. And you have these gaps of just
silence.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the car, when it starts thinking, right, I'm going to stick the knife in here, I'm going to twist you up, I'm going to make you feel shit about something. And I've got that awareness now to stop it and go, hang on, fuck off. Stop chatting shit.
Yeah.
And by bringing your awareness to it, you diffuse it.
Yeah.
And the more you can do that and train it, so you're training your brain. Your brain's a muscle, essentially, isn't it? It's the same way as you train your body. You train your mind to understand what's positive and negative and what your self-talk, what that inner tape's doing.
Yeah.
And once you get hold of that inner tape and you're pulling the strings of it, your life changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your outlook, your perception, everything changes.
Yeah. Brain health's important, man. I had about 20 seconds, maybe not that much, yesterday of just peace where I was reading. Do you ever just do something and you just stop and you just go, I feel fucking good.
Yeah.
Like there was no noise. I could hear the bird tweeting in the background and it was beautiful. And I just felt
That's
good.
that inner clarity, that inner peace. That's what I deem as bliss.
Yeah.
But I think you only get that when you die. You know, when it's like, but surely we can quiet our minds. We control our minds. They don't control us.
I think we definitely quiet it for sure. I think we've probably both done that.
And the more and more, like my inner chat was horrendous for years and years and years. Like I've been suicidal since probably the age of 13, 14.
Okay.
So probably since puberty, many a time have I thought, how do I kill myself? How do I end it? I don't want to suffer this. I can't shut my mind up. How do I stop my mind talking to me? Like how can I stop it? How can I get away from these horrible feelings? All this.
Yeah.
And the only way sometimes is I'll just terminate myself. Then it will stop.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then you realise, actually, I've got a purpose here. I'm going to do something with this life. So I'm going to do something good that's fulfilling. And I've learned to quieten down. Everything leads me to the next thing, whether it's a different book, a different podcast, a different documentary, meeting a different person. You just start, the path sort of opens up and you just think, right, I'm just going to keep taking a step.
Yeah, I think the scariest thing with like turning the volume down at first is sometimes the voice can get louder before it gets quieter. So if I go on this mission to eliminate some distractions, so if I go, right, I'm getting rid of social media, it kind of leaves gaps.
Yep.
And sometimes that inner voice can take over a little bit. I think there's just a bit of faith and work needed to do to communicate better with it.
Like starting in the gym for the first time.
Yeah.
Like starting a new sport, like starting anything, a new skill, learning a musical instrument, learning a new language. You've got to retrain your brain from what you've known before. Yeah. And realise that the voice in your head isn't you. Yeah. Like we identify with it, like, and it's just like, if you can see it as like an imaginary friend. Or have you ever watched A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe?
With Russell Crowe, I know that I have.
So
but
he's
it's been
got
so
different
long
characters that are talking to him all the time that aren't real.
Oh, okay.
They never go, but he knows to be like, shut up. Yeah. Or, oh yeah, you again. Good one. Yeah. Like you're trying to, and that's exactly how I've got in my mind.
Yeah, I was listening to somebody the other day, and they said you should literally name these like sub-personalities.
Little characters in your head.
Like give them little characters.
Again,
yeah, exactly. You go, here's that fucking idiot again telling me that life's like not worth living. Yeah, shut the fuck up, dude. You know, I know what you're about.
Or she's going to cheat on me, or why did she do this to me, or it's killed me. Like shut up. Yeah. That's gone. We don't need that anymore. We're in the now.
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, teaching, wouldn't it be great to have been taught this when you were young?
You're not your thoughts.
Yeah. Just that alone, if someone at school had just sat me down for an hour a week and said, we're going to talk about this.
Let's talk about the little devil and angel on your shoulder. You know, like they depict in cartoons when we were kids.
Yeah. Well, there's
what they're saying. And
wouldn't that have been cool?
Yeah.
There's this. Well, this is probably what you're doing, right? You want to educate people, but they reckon that emotional intelligence will get you much further than intellectual intelligence in life.
100%. So I was always told I weren't very clever.
Yeah.
But I've done better.
Yeah.
You know, than a lot of people that were grade A students and got masters and got all this. It means fuck all.
It don't mean much.
It's how you apply yourself. It's how you understand people. It's how you interact with people. It's how you can see an opportunity. It's how your creativity.
Yeah.
The education system is wank.
Yeah.
It doesn't teach us anything we need to know. And I know we need the practical stuff to be human and live and do all these things. But these are the things. Awareness. That's our greatest superpower.
Yeah.
Understanding that we're not our thoughts. These are all the things I want to bring to the education system.
Well, you're trying to change this, right? The company is it called Up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Unlimited Potential.
Unlimited Potential. What a cool name that is. I love that, mate. So you're trying to get this into the curriculum of schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a long journey.
But that's the mission, right?
But it's almost like start where you are. Start with the people you can influence. Okay. And it'll organically grow, I think. So
what is it that you're wanting to teach the young kids that you don't feel like you had or that isn't in the current curriculum?
Everything we've just spoken about.
Yeah.
Belief systems, awareness, the voice in your head, the tools, the coping strategies, that you can actually create your own universe. You can be whatever you want in life.
Okay.
And it's like, no matter what cards you're dealt as a child, almost accept their doubt you, because they're the lessons you need to learn that are going to evolve you and grow you the quickest. I think people that have no hardship, have no adversity, are actually at a disadvantage, because how do they get to these points quicker? How will they ever get to the points where some people get to? They might never.
Do you know what upsets me, Scott? It's like, when you have like a 5-year-old and you offer him a bit of encouragement and support and he loves it, but then he's going home to the environment that is not going to serve him well.
Well, this is my next thing. It's not just like this program is going to start at key stage 2, but it's going to be there for adults as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea, man.
Because there's no manual to be a parent.
No.
You're just going off what your parents did, and you're thinking, I like that bit, I didn't like that bit, and you're doing your best. Everyone's doing their best. And I think that's all you can do in life is your best. Some days your best will be outstanding.
Yeah.
When you're knackered emotionally, physically, everything, some days your best might be bang average. But always do your best, and you can never judge yourself. Can you? You can never put yourself down, and no one else can ask any more of you.
No, but this is why it's so important for each individual man and woman, but we'll keep it as men because it's the better man.
Yeah.
To do the work on themselves, because, like you say, if you want generational change,
if we want the world to be a better place.
Yeah, but you have to break that habit of those lessons your dad taught you.
Yeah.
You have to be the one strong enough to go to war with those stories so that your kid's life. Yeah, he doesn't have those fucked up stories.
And my dad taught me some amazing things about work ethic, about providing, about all them things.
Yeah.
To be honest, he never tried to teach me anything.
No, but they do by default.
By osmosis, I've learned off it.
Of course.
These things.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some genetic things that are just built into me, I suppose.
Yeah, but I don't think some parents even have the awareness that what you do, because
kids learn by observing more than what you say.
Do this. I love my mum and dad to bits, but I'm with them now, and we'll have conversations sometimes about the past, and they can't put 2 and 2 together and see why, like, my sister might have a couple of struggles in her area, I have a couple of struggles, and I'm like, can you not see that? Like,
and this is what
this is the path.
Like you said, we can put stories on things, can't we? And I always kind of used to go, oh, it's because of my family, it's because of my parents, this is the way I am because of them. And then I realised actually they were doing the best they could do with what they had. Yeah. So you can't blame them for anything. But now you're aware, you can change it. Sure. You can create what you like.
Yeah, and they had their
upbringing,
Yeah,
and my dad used to have the bout. His dad never spoke to him until he was 16 and left home and got a job.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, maybe that's why my dad's really good when you're a baby. And then when you're in this awkward sort of like, we used to have middle school and high school, but you've got that sort of like school age when you're an awkward kid, aren't you? And you can be annoying and you can be all this. He did nothing. He just completely was like a lodger. He literally just provided for me, but we never had any interaction. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. Didn't talk. Then all of a sudden, I've got my own business, like he used to have, and I'm a man, and we're like best mates. But I don't blame him for that. He just didn't know how to deal with that little bit. Now I could blame him for everything. Yeah, I'm the way I am because of this. I'm the way I am because of that. No, it's all on me.
It is, and if you are going to go down that road, then you have to give them credit for anything good that is in you or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't just have it one-sided.
But like you said earlier, it's easy to point the blame at everyone.
Yeah.
But when you're pointing, what they say, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you.
Yeah. I think there's always a lot of resentment towards parents because as men now, we probably look back and go, I would have loved to have been brought up like this. Because, we might know a slightly different path now. So in terms of resilience, courage, awareness, emotional intelligence. So you kind of, it's sometimes difficult not to be resentful and say, why didn't you do this? Yeah. Why didn't you teach me this? Why didn't you show me this?
Because they didn't know how.
Yeah, they didn't know how.
So how can you blame they didn't love me enough, they didn't show me any affection, all these things, right?
Yeah.
How can anyone give you something they haven't got?
No, it's true. So therefore, we step in now and we say, we're willing to learn these skills and maybe we'll be fortunate enough to pass them down. This is why I think it's important that guys have children, but they work on themselves and then pass what they learn down to their kids. And parents have a big job.
Doesn't necessarily have to be your kids. I was fortunate enough to be a stepdad for a period of time. Yeah. And the impact you can have on stepchildren is as big as what you can have on your own.
Sure, and with the program that you're taking in schools,
can influence,
for sure.
I know children are everyone's responsibility. Yeah. Because it's society, it's us, it's our human race. Yeah. It's on all of us to
well, we forget that now. It's everyone's so divided. It's men v women. It's
conflict
black
everywhere.
Versus white. It's just horrendous. Everyone's trying to create conflict. I'm like,
religions, everything.
Although there's a good argument that actually, since religion started to die down, there's been more conflict than ever. So like, at least religion used to give you that compass of how to live.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now it's
Yeah.
like, Nietzsche said it years ago, didn't he? It's the classic, like, God is dead, and when he dies, there's going to be trouble because no one's going to know how to live,
Yeah.
or what guidebook to follow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that kind of starts coming true now. Like,
But I don't
there's
think
almost so much freedom. People don't know what the fuck to do with themselves
Yeah.
or how to behave.
But yeah, the second there's a difference in opinion, conflict's created. That it's as simple
Now,
as
yeah,
that.
for sure.
But it's like, so men, women, like you say,
Yeah.
your different races, your different religions, you name it. The second it's even neighbours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Them over the road.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fucking hell, I grew up with this. Everyone just criticises everyone. And it's like, just fucking water your own garden and don't worry about other people.
Sure.
Like, why are we so quick to judge everyone else? It's because we're not happy with ourselves.
Yeah, but back in the day, you still had to coexist in that environment. Now, what's trying to happen is people are trying to eliminate people with different opinions.
Yeah.
So they're saying, "Oh, you're that? Then okay, then we're not together. Like we have to live separately."
But it's an opinion.
Sure, and why I love conversation, because I'm in the belief that you learn more from the people that don't agree with you. Therefore, they are great teachers.
Yeah.
I love sitting opposite someone who doesn't just like agree with everything. So there's a few things we've said today that we've probably like slightly kind of like changed. But
Yeah,
I'm
because
like,
I think we're at different sort of like, not different stages in different areas.
sure, always will be,
Which
right?
no one's ever going to be exactly
Yeah.
at the same point, are they?
No, but that's the great thing about conversation. Like, even if I don't agree with something someone says, I still like to learn about where those beliefs have come from, and doesn't mean we have to be distant. Like, I'm like, that's where problems are solved in the middle,
Yeah.
in debate.
Yeah.
That's how you come to rational outcomes.
Yeah.
You don't go, actually, Scott, I don't really agree with what you say, so I'm gonna hit stop now, and you can fuck off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't that
Yeah.
be ridiculous? What a shit!
Well,
What a
but-
waste!
But then at the same time, I'm just thinking how I would react to that. Years ago, I'd be devastated and think I'm worthless.
Right.
Like, my opinion, like you're judging me, and what you say is truth.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I'd be like,
Yeah.
he's entitled to his opinion.
Yeah, same, mate. I get what you mean. I used to be so value other people's opinions. Now, I'll only ask people that I genuinely respect. And like, if I get comments on social media that are a bit derogatory, I just will not give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like you say, there's just a strength inside of you that is okay, that you go like, this is what I believe, this is the path I'm on. That's cool if you don't like it.
We operate. There's two operating systems that we operate from. There's one of love, and then there's one of fear. And I think they're the two key things we operate from.
Sure.
And most of the world is ran and operates from this reaction to a fear. So, you know, like you were saying about the jealousy in a relationship, that's fear of lack, or fear of them abandonment, or it's the fear of something that's creating you to be jealous, which then you respond emotionally to.
Yeah.
Whereas with unconditional love, and this is what I think I meant when we had that sort of pre-meeting, I said, like, the more your heart gets broken with stuff, the more it gets opened. I see it now.
Yeah.
Not it gets closed and concrete and you build the barriers up and the walls around it. I think it's more now, the more your heart gets broken, the more it allows it to open fully, and you just love unconditionally. So no matter what people do to you, you still love them with no conditions.
Sure.
Everything's conditional in this life for some reason.
That fear, though, can be really useful. So that fear
Keeps you alive.
Yes. And the fear of those bad behaviours, or those behaviours that don't serve you, can drive you. It's like criticism, self-criticism. It needs to exist, otherwise we wouldn't better ourselves. It's dosage, and the cocktail that it's involved with.
But like you said, that self-criticism is essentially self-awareness, isn't it?
Yes, it's a voice,
but it's not. It's not. I think I suppose the word to use would be, you're not lambasting yourself.
Yeah, and you don't mix it with self-hate.
Yeah, so that's where the awareness. Have the awareness, but try not to judge too much.
No, it'd be like me coming to you and saying, Scott, I'm really struggling with this area. Could you give me some constructive advice on how to make things better? So you would offer me some advice. And we have to teach ourselves how to do the same thing. So that criticism is more of a guide. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So it's very useful. We need it. We need the criticism. But if you mix it with like self-hate or self-loathing.
Yeah, which a lot of the time it turns into.
Sure.
So it's fine. It's striking that balance of,
absolutely.
Oh, I'm aware I react badly to things like that. So what can I do about it?
Yeah.
And next time it happens, what are the triggers? What is it that sets me off? Okay, I've got an understanding of that. So next time that happens, I'm going to approach that differently.
Yeah.
And if I do respond and react, that's fine. But at least I can explain it and understand it.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's then you're not and then you're kind of giving yourself a little bit of a break, aren't you?
You are.
You're caring for yourself a bit more. If we're scared of using the word love, as men are, and a lot of people are, like love's dangerous, scary. What does love mean to you? I mean, it's a question someone asked me once, and I was like, hurt, upset, loss. All the worst things in the world.
Yeah.
And really, it's not, is it? They're the things that I've attached to it through fear.
Yeah. No, I get that. But there's a good argument as well that, like, for example, if I came to you for some critical feedback that I welcomed, I'd want you to tell me the truth. I'd want you to be firm with me. I'd want you to be straight with me, and I would respect you for it. So we kind of, again, have to have that toughness towards ourselves, and love for me can live in that toughness.
I know for you, just from this chat today, I know that you doing the inner child work and working on 7-year-old, 8-year-old Alex, right, will give you all the freedom you want.
Sure. I know that too. That's why I'm putting all my energy there,
And it's almost like the monster is scarier than what you think.
Yeah, for sure.
But once you shine a light on it, which is the awareness, shrinks right down, and you're like, oh, right.
Yeah, somebody said you'll laugh at it when you get it through the other side, and you can look at it from this
different perspective.
He said you will laugh.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
And it will be almost like I said about that little voice in your head. You give it a name, a character. It's Bob's back.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck off, Bob.
Yeah.
And it's like, you laugh at yourself. You don't take things as seriously.
Yeah.
And life, we've got so serious.
Yeah. Well, this is where a lot of the comedians are stepping up and saying, we want to defend comedy because it's the only thing that makes life tolerable. Yeah. Like, some things are so dark and nasty that by shedding light on them, it reduces anxiety.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I'm like, actually, maybe we can turn this into a bit more of a fun game. Like you say, give it a name, tell it to fuck off.
Yeah.
It's a bit more fun than sitting there in the dark, going to town on yourself. Who am I? And, do you know what I mean? It's like, well, maybe we can make this a bit more fun, especially when we're talking. Like, if you're talking to kids, imagine that, teaching them those school
and like
tools.
Alter egos. Like, a lot of the top sports people are like, if me played in that game, I would have been a waste of space.
Yeah.
But my alter ego, when I cross that line, I become so and so, and I act the way I need to perform at my optimum.
Yeah.
And people do it in business, people do it in sport. It's a skill that everyone needs to learn, that play a part for certain things, but then always come back to yourself.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, be happy being you.
Robert Greene says we're always characters, so you have to chisel out and develop the characters you want to be. Like, he doesn't think there's anything wrong with that. Some will teach you, no, lose all the masks. And he's like, no, like you need to develop some to exist in this world. Yeah. It's just picking the right ones.
But again, it's only using it at the times you need it.
Sure.
So as a parent, as a friend, as a son, as a daughter, whatever you are, you'll have so many roles you play in your life. But ultimately, the main character in your story is called me.
Yeah.
The main character in my life is called me.
Always.
And the film, the story I'm in is called Life, and I'm sure it's the same for you.
Yeah.
So there's me in life, and you create it all.
Mm.
And they're like the key things, and it's teaching kids to be able to go, shit, so I can actually create the me I want to be, and how I want to be, and how I want to perceive the world, and do the things I want to do. And it's almost like, well, just because of these belief systems and this rule book that you've been given, you just need to have the awareness to be able to unpick it and see the things that are actually true in that and the things that aren't.
Makes sense. What's next for you then? I mean, obviously the CEO of the SCCU Group.
Yeah.
And you want to get the UP into the curriculum. Like, what's next for you? What does the next 12 months look like for you? What are you doing with your time?
I've got a trip to Canada to be with Eckhart Tolle, to be a teacher of presence and awareness.
Oh, wow.
So
Power of Now is one of the golden books.
Yeah. One of the best I've ever read. And A New Earth's brilliant as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, going to meet him, spend a week with him. That's a 6-month course. So doing that. Going to try and launch up as much as I can into.
I love it.
But again, it's that imposter syndrome. It's the fear of...
Do you have doubts? Yeah.
Oh, God, all the time, yeah.
What are they? Like,
who's going to want to listen to me? I'm chatting shit. What do I know? What qualifies me to be someone that can help people?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But like you said, if anything I say or do can help one person, great.
The only advice I'd have on that is, this is that authenticity thing again. I think you'll only have those crushing self-doubts when you're trying to be anything other than yourself.
I'm not a believer in the whole fake it till you make it.
No, but it's hard not to.
Yeah.
Because we've got good intentions. We kind of like jump ahead of ourselves sometimes and start telling people to do some of the things we're not pros at.
Yeah.
I catch myself on social media all the time.
Well, there's so many therapists that ain't sorted themselves yet, and they're telling people what to do.
I've got a big problem with that now, man. And again, I know it is a reflection on me. I've done it. I've been there. So I'm be careful. I'll choose my words here carefully. But I can see through so many coaches and therapists now.
You feel it, don't you?
You feel
know
it.
Who's authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be when because I get all the same shit. So what I do is with my guys now, rather than coach them, I take them on the journey with me.
Yeah.
So I'm on a development path. I'm like, guys, do you want to come with me? And they're like, yeah, I want to get better too.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing to hide anymore. I don't have to pretend that I've got all my shit figured out. I'm like, I fucking haven't. And they, when I say that, people go, oof, thank God. Well, Alex is admitting that.
I don't think you're ever the finished article. I don't think anyone can say they've got everything and know everything and can do everything.
No, mate. No, you become unrelatable then too.
And like I said, like we are all perfect just as we are. But the problem is we've put this, we've created what perfect is, and everyone believes it. So if you don't align to that, you feel like you're not worthy, do you? Yeah. You feel like you're substandard.
Well, there's something else we disagree on. Like, I don't think we're perfect at all. I think we're imperfect.
But that's what I'm saying.
But that might be the perfection.
For me, the imperfection is perfect.
Yeah, that's how we're meant to be.
Yeah.
It's probably what we'd say, right? You're meant to be perfect and not perfect.
So if I spoke French and you spoke Spanish, we're actually saying the same thing, but it's lost in translation. And this is what happens in the world, isn't it, as well?
It does, but this is the good thing about long-form conversation. We can come to a deeper understanding.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was 5 minutes or a TikTok 30 seconds...
How do you get that?
Yeah, how do you get to anything good unless we just sit here and go, phones off, let's talk?
Yeah.
And this is what I think a lot of men are missing now. They would love this opportunity. Yeah. Well, let's work some stuff out. How do we do that? Let's spend the day together and talk.
Do you know what's lovely is when people... And I found this with my dad because I had to do all the legwork. But ask questions.
Yeah.
Ask people questions.
Yeah.
Because you find out a lot about yourself when you ask people questions.
Yeah. We said the skill of listening, right? The skill of asking good questions is another one we should learn.
Yeah.
Because good questions, they start good conversations.
Yeah.
You can't get a good answer without a good question, right? If you ask a shit question, get a shit answer.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's closed.
Scott, how are you today? Oh, yeah,
all right,
okay,
mate.
Thanks. Yeah, sound, yeah. All right, see you later.
Yeah, like you said, the small talk, can't do it. But when you meet someone in the street, you can't really dive straight into, so what are your belief systems?
No.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned in life so far?
No, you're right. You can't. But what we can do is we can put our time and energy into our work that's deep and meaningful.
Yeah.
I don't think I could survive on the planet without doing meaningful work. I'd
couldn't
kill
agree
myself.
more. Like over Easter, those 4 days, I had a couple of days when I didn't feel like I was doing anything towards my sort of like mission, if you like.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Right.
Like the fulfillment in me just was draining, and I was like, I need to get reading, or I need to get doing something. Or
what did you do instead?
I literally just spent time with my family and tried to be a bit
normal.
Yeah, and I don't really like it, to be honest.
I had a lovely day. I went round my mum and dad's for Easter dinner, but my mum made this massive roast dinner, and then she was like, "Here's some chocolate." So I had some chocolate. Then mum was like, I bought some honeycomb ice cream.
Yeah, they're feeders, aren't they?
Yeah, with lemon posset cake or lemon something. And then we had apple crumble and custard for tea. And it's all the stuff I wouldn't do. But you know what mums are like? They just love feeding you, right?
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of me that it just didn't sit very well with this time. It was like, it's kind of going against... I know it only sounds like I'm being a pig. But you know when you feel like you're just kind of like not quite in tune?
It's almost like this is... gluttonous.
Yeah, and you're not treating your body well, and you know you're going to wake up the next day with a bad stomach, and it's like there's probably other things that are better now than being a pig.
I think, you were saying about like with the stats and how the world's changing and less religion and stuff like this. I think there's a massive like awakening in the world, and I don't mean like the woke generation. I mean just everything seems to be changing in how we approach everything and look at things. And I think the awareness and consciousness in the world is the thing that's changing.
Well, maybe that's because of the lack of religion now. So if religion doesn't fill the gap, what does?
Well, it kept you very structured and rigid in your
Well, it
beliefs,
did.
didn't it?
Plus, it answers some of the bigger questions in life. So
Well,
if
it gave you your beliefs, didn't it?
it gave you beliefs, it gave you hope that after this life there'd be something better. Because a lot of people's torment comes from, is this it? I'm suffering now. I've got 80 years of this fucking suffering. I didn't ask to be here. Like you said, that thing in your head where you want to terminate yourself because you're like,
I've had enough.
I've had enough.
I want it to stop.
It's pointless. It's meaningless.
Yeah.
80 years of this fucking shit. None of it's going to matter.
Yeah.
And that's a very tempting path to follow, by the way.
Well, it's interesting because there's a what do you call it, Undertaker's around the corner.
Yeah, there is.
I'm walking in. I saw a box being carried out, and I'm thinking, shit.
Yeah.
But we should use death as a tool, really.
Yeah.
So it's almost like fast forward to your deathbed. What do you want to achieve?
Sure.
Or when you get to the pearly gates or whatever it is, and they ask you, what lessons have you learned in this lifetime?
Yeah.
What are they going to be?
Death's a weird thing for me. It drives me to do good things, and it drives me to stop worrying about some of the small shit.
Mm-hmm.
The other part of it makes me think nothing is worth the fucking effort.
Just give up.
Just don't bother. Just be like everyone else. Just fucking see it through. Get through it. Just enjoy your beer, have your cigarettes, fuck as many women as you can.
Yeah.
And just die, man. Just get it over and done with. Part of that is,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? That voice creeps in. I don't live like that though, so I know that voice isn't winning. Because I had this thing with my therapist. I was like, I'm worried. I think I'm a nihilist. But he's like, you're not a nihilist. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So he said, don't listen to the voice. Let's have a look at how you're behaving. You're behaving like life matters.
Yeah.
I was like, oof, thanks. Because
There's something
that.
driving you.
Yeah, I needed that reassurance.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think that's worthy of living for is to help other men.
Yeah.
Help other people live better lives. That keeps me alive.
That's your purpose, yeah.
Yeah.
Simon Sinek, like you said, that's your why, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm like, I understand how painful and how much suffering is in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm going to a hospital next week in Birmingham. Terminally ill kids, they ain't coming out.
Yeah.
Why do I want to go? I don't know, because I know they're suffering 20 times more than me.
Yeah.
And I want to be around those people.
The thing is, though, don't you find it amazing how their outlook
Dude.
is far better than people that are healthy?
The woman said, she said, you'd think it would be a depressing place to come. She said, you will be inspired. These kids are brave. They're positive.
It's uplifting, I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
And
They're like,
humbling, yeah.
you know they're not going to live. They know they're not going to live. But they're kids and they don't question everything. They just play and I'm like, fuck.
There's a quote, isn't there? I can't remember it. I wrote it down yesterday, but it's almost like the person who has everything wants everything. The person who has nothing only wants one thing. No, that's wrong. Completely wrong. Scrap that. But it's essentially about your health.
Well, if you think...
if you haven't your health, that's the only one. That's the one thing
you want back.
Whereas if you've got your health, you want everything.
Yeah. So if we had a terminally ill guy in the studio, right, and he said, I've got 2 weeks to live.
We're all terminally ill.
Yeah, we are. We're all going to die, right?
But people's bubbles, but we don't realise we're all terminally ill. We're all dying.
But let's just say he was guaranteed 2 weeks and that's it. All of a sudden, the things that he thought were important are no longer important. So fear for me, like, big decisions where I could lose my house, my clothes, my car. This guy does not give a fuck about any of those things. The only thing he wants back is his health, the ability to move, breathe.
What also would you say has died on him then?
On him? Yeah. What do you mean?
Would you say that he's had that ego death?
Yeah.
Where
epiphany, ego death.
We're all
spiritual
materialistic
awakening.
shit don't matter anymore, does it?
Yeah, dude, I spent like 600 quid on a couple of coats about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah. Which is nice if you can do it.
Yeah, it is. It was great.
But
they look great.
It's not the be all or end all.
No, but again, it was a cover up, man.
Right.
It made me feel good in the time. But now I'm like, if I'd have just waited a bit, those coats don't mean fuck all, man.
No.
I know this. This is what I mean. You can look back and you know what's going to be a regret and what's not. I will not get to the end of my life going, I'm so glad I bought those coats.
Yeah.
Same with my tattoos. I'm never going to get to my deathbed and go, I wish I hadn't got them, because they're not important enough.
Yeah.
So by looking at what regrets you want, that can invert you towards what decisions you should make. Will I regret not loving and having family? I know I'm going to regret that. I fucking know it.
But you've got plenty of time to do something about it.
But that's where I've got to put my energy. Mm-hmm. So there's no point me building a business that makes me £20 million a year but doesn't address this other issue.
100%.
That would be fucking stupid, right?
Yeah.
But it's what a lot of guys would do.
Yeah. Which is where I was going.
Yeah, of course. But we have to go there.
Yeah, to realise.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I would never discourage someone from going out and getting those things. Buy the coat, buy the car, buy the house.
What I love in what I've done, it's give me freedom to then pursue and do what I find fulfilling.
Yeah. The only annoying thing
platform.
is, don't you wish you weren't 39, 40 now?
I do.
So I'm like, wouldn't it have been great not to have spent 38 years to learn this shit? But I don't think there's any other way.
No.
It's an education. It's a university of life.
And I do worry that you're like, all right, is this the top of the hill? Is it downhill now? But then I was told growing up, school days are the best days of your life. After that, it's shit.
Yeah.
After 21, it's all downhill. And then you think, fucking hell. Don't you?
Yeah.
And you think, now I reflect on it and I think, well, why can't the rest of my life be even better than the first half of my life?
Well, it should be. I think that's for people who don't go on a journey of self-development. So me and you probably at a stage where we're starting to know ourselves a bit more now. So we can have more fulfillment.
Everyone says to me, like, oh, you're massive on nostalgia, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, because it brings back the best feelings in the world. If I listen to, like, theme tunes of stuff I watched when I was a kid, so if it's Thundercats or Gummy Bears or DuckTales or anything like that, I'm buzzing inside. I've even got a playlist like Nostalgia, Baywatch, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right? It builds me up so much, and I've always been so scared that I'm never going to feel like that like I did when I was a kid. And I'm thinking, of course you can. Just because I'm still that kid. I've just my shell's just got a bit older.
Do you have the opposite of a nostalgia playlist? What's the opposite of nostalgia? I'm sure there's a word. But do you have another playlist that just kind of takes you down like other avenues and dark paths?
A good cry and a good
or a reflection. Like
I've got a Sanctuary playlist.
Okay.
But that's more like spiritual awakening stuff.
Oh.
When I'm reading, I put the Sanctuary playlist on and my mind opens up no end.
See, I love putting a bit of Hurt by Johnny Cash on.
Oh yeah.
That kind of
it's
stuff.
nice to. It's because you feel, don't you? It's nice to feel that.
Yeah, but again, he's singing about things that I understand. He's singing
resonates.
He's singing about regret, and that was written by a 21-year-old at the time, Trent Reznor. It's like, how can a 21-year-old write about regret? But I think inside of us, some of us know we're going to regret the life we live.
Do you know what? I think life is about, and this is what happens when we're at a midpoint, say. I think life's about unlearning everything you taught as a kid, and then it's almost like then realising, right, now it's up to me to create what I want moving forward.
Yeah, which is in alignment with your theory of like die first.
Yeah.
You know, die and forget everything you've learned.
Strip it all back, yeah.
And it's weird that you mentioned that. I've been reading a lot about this. But, mate, we've been talking for an hour and 40. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was worried we'd get 5 minutes out of this.
You're joking, mate. Oh, mate, I can speak to you all day.
I didn't know
man.
you did record.
Yeah. Mate, honestly, it's when you talk about things you're passionate about, this is where that saying, "A time stands still." It can sometimes, but there's a traditional question I need to ask you because this is an important one.
Okay.
What is it that you need to work on now in order to be what you would call a better man?
I need, and this is something I realised a couple of weeks ago. So when I get frustrated and annoyed, like people ignoring me, and it's always been a thing. Oh well, they're ignoring me. She's ignoring me, and then I've realised I'm ignoring myself. I don't listen to what I want. And I've always ignored what I want to do, what I think I should do, or what others want. So what I need to work on is listening to my inner self.
So it's that authentic side as well.
So really listen to. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a CEO of an education provider. I want to go and help people and teach people, and so it's almost like all of a sudden starting to unpick again.
Yeah.
And listening to what I want and stop ignoring myself.
Yeah. And then I guess the courage to pursue that too, right?
Yeah. So and then follow it through.
Yeah.
Because it's pointless having awareness without action, isn't it? But it's that listening to yourself. Not the inner voice.
No, I get you.
Actually your gut and listening to yourself more.
Yeah. There was this guy that said this well to me. He said when your head and your heart and your gut align, he said, you're on fucking fire. I was like, that'd be nice to get those three in alignment.
Bliss, yeah.
That's kind of what you would call
That's what you were describing of the, that tranquility of the birds and everything. That is just that.
Everything's as it should be.
Yeah.
Because
in
normally
harmony,
in life it isn't. Your head's over there,
harmony,
your emotions are over there, your head's telling you this, your emotions are telling you that.
Our head's either living in the past, living in the future. It very rarely lives in the here and now, does it?
Do you know what your authentic self looks like? Do you have an understanding? Because I think
I'm being it because I'm an open book. So I say what I struggle with. I say what things I like. It's like I don't try and be cool. Like I say, I listen to Disney classics to give me a mood shift. Like, because it's incredible. It reminds me of that childhood and that nice feeling. So, yeah, I think I am being authentic, and I'm not scared of saying what hurts, what I'm scared of, what.
You have to do that, mate, because if you want these kids to be able to do the same, you've got to lead by example. You've got to go first. You've got to literally go there and show these kids your wounds.
That's it. Like, I'm just trying all the time to kill my ego. And when I react to something like, that's the ego, what a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, let it go.
Yeah.
Like, someone's horrible to you, let it pass through you. You should be transparent. You shouldn't. It's only when you resist. It's like the old Chinese, isn't it? Use the force of your, you know, in the art of war sort of thing. Like, let it just pass through you. Don't fight back.
How are you going to develop the courage then to pursue what? So if your awareness teaches you the path that you want to go down, what can you do to be the guy that's courageous enough to then pursue it and risk everything else at the cost of it?
I think I'm walking that path.
You do? Good.
Yeah. Like I say, I've had to. It's like, literally, it's been like a crucifixion the last 4 or 5 years of everything that's happened with deaths, relationships, everything you can think of. It's just all hit me at once, and I've just thought, right, I'm not going to hide from it. I've just got to surrender to it.
No, I love that. You often find that, don't you? You kind of ask questions like that. Well, what can I do? And then you assess it and you go, I am doing it. Yeah. I'm slowly walking that path.
I think the thing is, I'm not listening to myself enough, not listening to my gut enough. I'm ignoring myself sometimes when I know I don't want to do something.
I'm with you on that one, mate. I swear I'm at.
But I feel I must do it.
Yeah.
Or I want to do something and I'm thinking it might upset people, so I won't.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've got to stop that. I've got to do what.
Yeah.
I've got to stop ignoring myself.
Yeah.
Listen to myself more. But not that annoying little voice.
Mate, that was fucking awesome. I had a blast. I was desperate. I was desperate for that conversation. I knew obviously, because we'd met before, I knew what I was going to get today. You're a very open guy, and that's probably why I was so excited, because I craved this, mate. I need this conversation.
Yeah.
And I really respect other men that are willing to just go, yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
Warts and all type thing.
Yeah. No, look, so I was thinking on the way here and yesterday, like, what things should I say? What should I talk about? And then I got to a point where I was just like, I'll just go with the flow of it.
Well, some of the feedback I've had from a lot of the guests is just they enjoyed the relaxed conversation. There's no structured questions, and it's not laziness on my part, it's curiosity. So I'm like, that's the excitement and the anxiety of like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah,
so
it flows where it's meant to, doesn't it?
I think so, mate. So I'm happy to sit in that anxiety of like, what are we going to get, what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But you need two people to be willing, and you were very willing, so that was great, man.
Cool. Loved it. Cheers, mate.
You're a legend, mate. Good luck with Up, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep my eye on that. I think that's fucking amazing, by the way. You got my spot if I can do anything to help. Yeah. I know James is a big fan as well. James is bigging you up. Yeah. James knows the importance of this. He's got 2 kids. He knows the importance. Get them started on a good path. Yeah. And they got a much better chance.
Perfect.
Cheers, bro.